Oh, howdy all, grab yourselves a beer, it is time for some Path of Exile. Now, in this video, I wanted to try to craft an upgrade for the Searing Touch, and this is for a character that is a Vaal Fireball character. Now, I am using Fireball as my primary method of killing things, but I'm using the Vaal version often as well. Searing Touch does a lot for this build, especially when it's Divine Perfect like this one. 60% fire damage over time multiplier is amazing. 10% cast speed is nothing to sneeze at, and +2 to the level of all fire spell skill gems is great. However, there's one very important stat that's missing from this, and that is the has a Vaal modifier from Bloodstained Fossils. So, what I wanted to try and do is recapture as much of the base of this staff as I can by using fossil crafting, and also do it in such a way that I can also benefit from the Bloodstained Fossil mod. Now, this is an expensive craft to attempt. It's about 200 chaos per attempt that I'm doing at the moment. And I'll just go through the fossils that I'm using and why. So we're using Bloodstained, Sanctified, Etheric, and Faceted. So I will just quickly jump across to an out-of-game database that will then give you a bit of a sense as to what each of these does. So, the Etheric fossil adds more caster modifiers and fewer attack modifiers. It adds in one undesired mod into the pool, which is this: minimum level 1, socketed skills deal 20% more spell damage. Now that would be great, except that I'm using my Vaal Fireball socketed in Skin of the Loyal at the moment, so I don't really intend to get this. However, because it's minimum level 1, I believe that Sanctified Fossils heavily bias against you getting that. In terms of other mods that we can get, we have the various... Well, the things that have been biased against. Etheric fossils are used because they give you you're 10 times as likely to roll any individual caster mod, and you are 85% less likely to roll any individual attack mod. So all of these attack mods are heavily biased against, and that's a good thing because they're pretty common rolls and you don't really want any of them. There's a couple of rolls here that are less desirable. So increased spell damage, and plus maximum mana. These aren't necessarily terrible rolls, but they just don't synergize well with what I'm trying to do. However, they might be ideal for someone else. And that's one of the things with... one of the reasons I've made some of the decisions I have with crafting this stuff this way, is that I want maximum resale value if I end up hitting something that is perfect for someone else's build, but not for mine. However, the key thing that I wanted here is that I've got two factors biasing towards me rolling the Magister's Affix, which is a very rare mod. It has a 50 weighting, which means that it is 20 times rarer than typical mods, which have 1,000. However, this +2 implies times 10 twice. So it's weighted at 5,000, which is pretty high. And then we also have the other mods that we really want to see. I mean, the one that we really want to see is the fire version here. So this is the Lava Conjurers. Minimum level 77, and it's 125 base weight. But we've got two factors of 10 on top of that, so it's 12,500. It's got a reasonable chance of coming up. Now, of course, all these other mods that are here also have a pretty good chance of coming up, and they'll be good for other builds, but not for mine. That's fine. I don't mind rolling any of them. Less desirable is adding flat damage to... Oh, sorry, is adding damage of an element to spells. Flat damage doesn't help me, but it might help some other build that is intending to use this item. So if I end up rolling something that's perfect for someone else, of course it's getting sold. On the suffixes side of things, we have increased burning damage would be nice, but there is the stronger version, which is the increased, which is the fanatical, which is actually a prefix, isn't it? It's fire damage over time multiplier. It's sort of hidden down here. This is the reason that I'm using item level 78 staves, and it's a pain in the ass to pick up exactly 78, but Fanatical is something that can roll on 78 and higher. At the same time, I'm choosing exactly 78 because I want to block a lot of mods like top tier added strength, top tier resist, top tier mana regen. So for that reason, I'm removing some of the bad rolls from the pool by using exactly 78. So that explains the Etheric fossils. Faceted fossils. These make all of the existing mods that make skill gem rolls, that increase skill gem levels 10 times as likely to roll, and in addition they add new ones into the pool. Now the ones that are added by faceted fossils actually aren't desirable at all. +1 to the level of socketed intelligence gems. +1 to the level of socketed dex, +1 to the level of socketed strength. However, they're suffixes, and most of the competition on this item is in the prefix slot. So for that reason, most of the mods I want are prefixes, so I don't really mind if I get an undesirable suffix there. And they're not total rubbish either. So that's the faceted fossil. Next up we have the bloodstained fossil, which isn't listed here, but what it does is it gives you it is a guaranteed 40% reduction in Vaal Soul skill costs, and that's amazing in conjunction with Vaal Fireball. And then on top of that, we are using a sanctified fossil. No one actually knows outside GGG exactly how the maths on sanctified fossils work, but they bias towards getting higher minimum level. You'll be more likely to roll a high minimum level mod than you would normally be. So for instance, blue would become more common because it's a pretty high minimum level. Zafra would become more common, and the bias, I believe, is stronger towards Zafra than blue. However, Cobalt would be biased against, Beryl would be biased against, Azure would be biased against. And one of the things that's really useful, and the reason that I've gone for an etheric fossil, because I could have achieved many of the same goals by using a scorched fossil instead. The scorched fossil adds an undesirable mod as well, and so you end up with an extra mod in the pool that's also a prefix. But there's a lot of potential with the sanctified fossil that I can hit someone else's dream weapon. So for that reason, I'm going etheric, faceted, bloodstained, and sanctified. At this point, I'm going to jump back into the game client, and then we will have a look and see how we actually go with the crafts. So you'll see that I've got 3 lined up. All of these, because the bloodstained fossil mod is guaranteed, all of the end products will be of use to someone in theory. These were just purchased as bases, even though some of them had reasonable mods on them. They're still just purchased because I needed a base. So bloodstained for the Vaal mod, faceted for the levels, etheric to bias towards spellcaster, and sanctified to bias towards high level. And here we go. Increased spell damage, increased lightning, crit chances, spells, Vaal Soul skills. Okay, that is a total and utter brick. That is a steaming turd. But that's okay. We can still salvage some value because of that reduced cost of Vaal skills. There goes 200 chaos. Fire damage over time multi. Okay, this is probably an upgrade on what I have. I've got... yeah, fire damage over time multi. I have 60 at the moment. So this is an upgrade to 75 with a lot of Divine Orbs. And in terms of other mods, I'm losing the +2 levels. So I'm really paying a considerable price to pick up the Vaal skill reduction, which is a big mod. So this one's solid, but it's not spectacular. And then we'll try the third. This is really just an end of league sort of currency spending mission. It's an expensive craft. So this is our last one. Okay, so again we've had a hard miss there. You'll see that there's that of the underground suffix, Socket of the Intelligence gem. That's the only one of the... I was doing a lot to bias towards getting more of those plus the skill gem levels, but none of the prefixes came up. So based on that, we have 2 that are largely misses, and 1 that is a soft hit but not a hard hit. In any case, not every crafting attempt succeeds, and that's one of the things that you don't craft with any materials you can't afford to lose. But if you've got any questions or comments about this process, fire away below. Otherwise, I'll leave it there and I hope you have a good one.